All right, listener, welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we are going underground. Well, not literally, of course, but we're going to be exploring the story of a group of teenage boys. And they were found in abandoned mines in South Africa.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
The source material is, it's grim. It's 27 teenage boys, all undocumented. They resurfaced from these abandoned mines after spending over a month underground. They were involved in illegal mining, and they're now facing repatriation to Mozambique.
Wow.
So there's a lot to unpack here. A lot of
Right.
layers to this story. So let's dig in, shall we?
Let's do it. You know what really gets me right off the bat is that word resurfaced. Like, imagine being trapped underground for weeks, surrounded by darkness and just complete uncertainty. The psychological impact alone, I mean, that's got to be just immense, pushing these boys to their absolute breaking point.
Yeah, that's a chilling thought, and it makes you wonder, what would drive these kids to such risky work in the first place? I mean,
Right. It's a good question.
what could be so bad?
Yeah. Illegal mining, it's a symptom of deeper issues. You think about lack of opportunity, maybe even desperation, so profound that risking your life in a crumbling mine seems like the only option.
Yeah.
These mines are often abandoned, completely unstable death traps, even for experienced miners.
Right, and for teenagers, with less experience and less physical maturity, the risks are even greater.
Mm.
And the article highlights some of those dangers.
Oh, yeah.
Collapse, the lack of safety equipment, exposure to all sorts of harmful substances.
Yeah, and you can't forget the constant threat of exploitation, too. These children are often forced to work long hours, brutal conditions with little or no pay.
Wow.
They're invisible to the system, and that makes them ripe for abuse. It's a stark reminder of the dark underbelly of the global economy.
It really is. And speaking of invisible, the article mentions that a total of 96 undocumented children were detained. That number really stuck with me. It kind of highlights the legal limbo these kids find themselves in. Could you maybe shed some light on the legal frameworks surrounding undocumented minors?
Yeah, I mean, it's a complex web for sure. Children, they often slip through the cracks, They lack legal status, which makes them vulnerable to exploitation and denies them, basic rights and protections.
Yeah.
Authorities face a difficult balancing act, They're trying to enforce immigration laws while also ensuring, the safety and well-being of these children. It's a tough situation all around.
It really is. Now, focusing on those 27 boys, their journey didn't end with their rescue, obviously. They were placed in temporary safe care for 2 weeks. What does that entail? What does that actually look like?
So that's a critical step. Social workers, they'll assess the children's needs, provide counseling and support, and then they'll initiate the process of repatriation, which involves collaboration between South Africa and Mozambique. So you're talking about social workers, courts, immigration officials. It's a complex dance across borders aiming to reunite these boys with their families.
Family reunification.
Yeah.
That sounds like the best possible outcome. But I imagine the challenges are far from over at that point.
Oh, absolutely. These children may have missed out on education, healthcare. Reintegration into their communities won't be easy. They might face stigma or struggle to catch up on lost opportunities. It's crucial to have ongoing support systems, to help them rebuild their lives.
So we started with a news snippet about 27 boys emerging from abandoned mines. But as we've explored, it's a story that runs much deeper.
Right.
It's about the human cost of poverty, desperation, and systemic failures.
Yeah, it forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about the world we live in, These 27 boys are not isolated cases. Their story represents a much larger problem, and it begs the question, what can we do to address the root causes that drive children to such extremes? What support systems can we put in place to offer them a path to a brighter future?
That's the real takeaway here, listener. This deep dive has given us a glimpse into a complex and challenging reality. It's a call to look beyond the headlines, to understand the systemic issues at play, and to consider how we can be part of the solution. Perhaps you can explore some of the resources mentioned in our source material or research organizations working to combat child labor and exploitation. Every bit of awareness, every action taken can make a difference.
For sure.
Until next time, stay curious.
And keep digging.
Goodbye, listener.
See ya.